Hello. Wait, right microphone. Hello. There we go. Hey, welcome to History Chats. Um, yeah, little different setup here because today we are welcoming our new executive director, who's Blake Opal-Wahoske. So yeah, we thought take the opportunity to, you've been on the job for a couple weeks now, and you watching might enjoy the opportunity to get an insight into what's been happening here. So first, thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Ben. Happy to be here today.
Yeah. So I guess to start, you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself and
Of course,
how you
yeah.
came to be the new executive director here.
Yeah, so my name is Blake Opal-Wahoske. I come from the Wausau River District, our Main Street program, so very happy to be here at the Historical Society, as historic preservation has always been in the forefront of the Main Street program, the Wausau River District. So I was with them for 8.5 years, first as an event manager, then their assistant director, and lastly as their executive director for the last 5 years. Just finished up my 3 weeks of being here at the Historical Society and very excited of what we have coming up here.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just checking the audio here. You never quite know until we go live, how that's going to come across. But so yeah, awesome. So some definite interest in history leading up to the position here, and we're happy to have you join us to bring us your expertise. Yeah. I feel like there's a follow-up question there, but why don't we just jump into the thing? So in the past, let me switch over here. So in the past, we did a thing where we had suggestions for favorite pictures from our collections, and I thought it might be kind of fun to invite Blake to, what is a favorite picture or two of his to just kind of, get us into the history there. And so, yeah, do you want to, I guess I can advance it here? Maybe? There we go.
Perfect.
So yeah, do you want to tell us about your choice here?
Yeah, so when you asked that question, Ben, I was just sitting there going, what really kind of speaks to the history of Wausau and my background. And right away I went to one of the, we're all kind of history nerds, but is Mr. Kobe's postcards. I personally collect those, so I had a personal stash in my office, so I went and grabbed a couple that really kind of featured downtown and some different unique ones that I personally haven't seen very often out in public. So
Yeah.
the first one here you can see here is modern day is the CVA on the far right, and of course the telephone company all the way on the left-hand side.
Yeah, and I scanning this, I put a little bit together here so we can see, for those of you, and if you are a little lost of exactly where are we and what are we looking at, you're not the only one. This happens to me frequently. So I decided to put together here. So this is a Sanborn map from 1912. And so it kind of shows this block. And as far as I can tell, we're looking this direction. So we're standing at the courthouse, probably a little bit closer to the curb there. And so you can kind of see this is the stuff that you can see in the picture itself, which is kind of cool. So yeah, these buildings here, Let's see. Well, we'll just have to go left to right here. So the one on the bank here, that's the 400 block across the street from the what is now the park 400 block. At this point, the courthouse. That was the Wisconsin Valley Trust Company. Is it labeled bank here? Actually, I think I have. There you go. There's a picture of it from our collection here. And as you can see, this is just complete. So this is interesting. And actually, when I was showing Blake this, we were looking at the background and realized, oh, there's a house there. So there's a house in between the bank building and the Grand Opera House. This is the precursor to the Grand Theater, which is built in the 20s. So, but I looked it up and apparently this was the home of John Leahy, who is actually, he's listed in the directories as Timberlands. But he's one of those like early settlers. He was one of the first mayors of Wausau in the late 1870s. And apparently he just had this nice house right across from the courthouse in between the theater and the bank. So kind of cool to see.
Convenient location.
Yeah. Well, it's surprising to me too because he seems to have also been living in Stevens Point. And I didn't decide to go down that rabbit hole this morning here, but apparently he might have. I mean, that wouldn't have been that uncommon for them to be involved in multiple communities at the same time. So, kind of interesting to see. But yeah, there he was. As far as the other ones, you have the post office there. It's at PPO. So that would be on the corner there. And then beyond that, you can see the orange-ish building there. That's the Wausau Telephone Company. But it would also at this point have been home to the Great Northern Life Insurance Company and actually the first home of Employers Mutual, or Wausau Insurance. So when they were getting started, they had an office out of that building as well. And then just curiously, right at the end there, you can see just a little bit of there's a house there. And I was kind of curious, like, what is this house? I wonder who lives there. And it turns out this was the location of St. John's Infirmary, which I didn't know anything about, actually. So doing a little research, so this was St. John Episcopal Church decided to, as part of their sort of outreach, they saw a need specifically for children, for ill children, sick children. So they sponsored the creation of this infirmary. It's a little hospital. Let's see. Around 1912, they changed the name to the Children's Infirmary. And then around 1921, it was actually taken over by the Federated Charities and then moved out of that location. And at that point, it opened up to any denomination. But yeah, kind of interesting little thing. Like, we don't really see infirmaries pop up very often. And I thought I had, understood the medical history of the county from this era, but apparently there's still little things here and there, which is kind of cool to see. So there you go. There's it's a great picture. It's a great choice.
Thank you.
And then we can also see, I grabbed this one as well. This is obviously from I think the 70s is what we were coming down to, based off of the shampoo being, the show being played there. Of course, this is the Grand Theater. So that house is now gone. Leahy's house is gone. But you can see also in the next block that the telephone company is a little bit larger. We think that that's maybe the same building in the foreground, but obviously the rest of the block is taken up with the building. So yeah, interesting little insight into that block and a half of houses.
And interesting to see, in the 70s here, that's relatively modern, but those of us that are walking past that day with the arts block all infilled, that's the way it used to look.
Yeah. And some of that's still there. It doesn't feel like it's that old, but there's that historic preservation, does a great job of keeping that history alive.
Yep.
Anything else you wanted to say about the...
Well, if you're looking at that CVA or the Wisconsin Trust Company there, now the CVA. So if you want to get in there during the renovations, they were able to expose the original vault door. So you can check that out in their vault gallery. An amazing place.
Yeah.
Of course, I am a little biased. I am on their board of directors. Another reason why I chose this building.
Yeah. But another great building, for a lot of reasons. So if you've not gotten a chance to see that bank, it's pretty cool to see what they uncovered there and kept that around. Yeah. And then you picked this one as well as the other one. So you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So, of course, iconic kind of look down Third Street with the trolley car there, but we also have Hotel Bellis, which was the predecessor to Hotel Wassa, which we worked on a couple years ago at the River District. We wrote the application for them to be recognized through Wisconsin Main Street as one of the best restoration projects in the state. So, kind of interesting to see what the precursor to that space was and what that was built in the 1920s, I believe, right? The Hotel Wassa.
Yeah, 24, I think, is when
Okay.
they replaced it. Yeah. But yeah, again, another courthouse block adjacent, the heart of downtown, but also looks a little different. If nothing else, because they got the trolley going through, which is really cool to see. You know, people don't necessarily recognize that, hey, yeah, we had a trolley here until the 1940s, which is hard to consider, but it'd been pretty cool to have. The thing I was just going to mention about this is I always like this picture because of the fact that the trolley is here. Almost every other colorized picture of the trolley is actually yellow because the trolley would have been yellow. But because of the way that they would do colorizing, I don't know if there would have been somebody local who would have handled this. But chances are they probably would have shipped it out to someone who then would have gotten the basic, okay, this is a brick building, this should be white. But they did make that choice to probably for the artistic visuality to make it more of a green color, because otherwise the yellow would kind of get lost in the lights. It certainly pops a little bit better, but it also just is kind of interesting to see the some postcards will make it more orangish, some will make it more yellow. Maybe not the most pressing part of this, but it's the thing that I always kind of focus in on. So yeah, another great one there. Yeah, is there anything else you wanted to say about this?
Well, I also think it's kind of interesting because it's not too, at least from my understanding, the look at Wassa at night. There's not too many images like this out there. So another reason why I loved this postcard.
Yeah, yeah, and night pictures are harder to do in this time. But now that we get electric lighting, you can kind of do this. But I would imagine that the base black and white picture for this probably wasn't as visually interesting because it would have been a little harder to see things. But yeah, still pretty cool. You don't see them very often. Awesome. Well, so there you go. Now there's two fair pictures from Blake, and let me go back to this. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that was kind of all we really had planned necessarily, which is all right. Maybe a little shorter. I guess is there anything else you wanted to say about plans for the future, or whatever you want to
Of course.
the public to know maybe about you and the museum.
Of course, first I just want to, kind of give my appreciation to those that came before me, Mary Foyer.
Yeah.
Over 2 decades here at the Historical Society. So I'm really looking forward to filling in those big shoes, but then looking and exploring more ways that we can make history accessible to folks out into the public, to empower them to preserve our historic properties, but then also connect them to their own history here in Marathon County.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we always try to do. But and Mary was great for the time that she had, and she very well deserved retirement that she has put in her time. So we're happy to have Blake on board and see where we go from here.
Happy to have the torch and keep running with it.
Awesome. So yeah, there you go. I guess again a little shorter this time, but that's all right. I got some good stuff here. Little history snuck in here, and now you know Blake a little bit better. I guess I'll just leave you with this, just for the sake of this. If you're watching this live, this weekend we're having our next History Speaks program, which is going to be Julie Kinney from the Marathon County Public Library is going to give a little overview of how to get started using genealogy, online, using Ancestry. There's a lot of great resources out there. And it's kind of hard to know where to get started sometimes. So she's going to take you through some of the basics of how to get started and how to start uncovering those roots or whatever you're looking for, So it'll be a great program. That'll be this Saturday at 2 o'clock, like all of our History Speaks. So if you're around and you're curious and you maybe want to know more about how to get started learning about your roots, come on down and learn a little bit about that. So yeah, and I think that covers it. So let's go back to yeah. Thanks for watching. Yeah, we'll be back next week with some more history chats, and in the meantime, have a lovely week.